Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to section 1, lesson 6, the first exercise, which is going to be Qaida Nooraniya Huroof al-Hijja al-murakkaba. And in this, if you've watched the section 1, lesson 6 video, I promised that I was going to upload an exercise video associated to the Qaida Nooraniya. And in the Qaida Nooraniya, and if you don't know what that means, Qaida Nooraniya is think of it as your first ABC book in Arabic, and specifically related to the recitation of the Quran. That's Qaida Nooraniya. Probably requires a larger video to discuss Qaida Nooraniya in detail. But the reason I'm doing this particular exercise is because Qaida Nooraniya has the Huroof al-Hijja, as in the letters that we learned from the Arabic language in murakkab or compound format, but they're written with different colors. As you can see on your screen, there are words written in Arabic, but each word is specifically broken up into different colors, and each color represents a different letter, and the letter in its compound format. And this page, these 3 pages of the Qaida Nooraniya, along with the exercise aid that I'm going to be using, I will upload and I will put it in the lesson, or the video description below, and you can use that to learn along. So let's get started. On the first page of Qaida Nooraniya, we have what you see on your screen. This is the letter, we should know this by now, this is the letter Alif. The letter Alif. Next we have two letters that are in compound format. The reason we know it's two letters is because it's in two different colors. This is the letter in the red color, and this is the letter in black color. Now this letter in the red color is the letter Lam, and this is the letter Alif. So this is La, the word is La. And this is another form of the word La. But in this one, the reason it's written this way, it's just a method of writing, is that it's a little bit of a shorthand so that you don't have to lift your pen in order to write it. So in order to write this La, you have to write the Lam and then lift your pen and then write the Alif. But in this one, you can just write it like this with a single movement of the pen, and the La is written and you don't need to lift your pen in order to write that. That's just a method of writing it, but they're both valid. The reason this is red and this is red and black, the same reason. This is a La, this is a La, so on and so forth. Next we have two letters, the letter in green and the letter in black. Now you should be able to recognize the letter in black pretty easily. It's an Alif. But if you don't know what this letter is, this is how I'm going to start to give you how you can use the attached exercise aid to figure out what this letter is. Now, if you don't know what this letter is, what you can do is you can go to your exercise aid and find the letters. What do you think it looks closest to? Okay, so on the very first page that I have on the exercise aid, it kind of looks like one of these letters right here. What do you think this is? The letter in green that we just saw? This letter in green is, oh, it's a dot below it. So that means, oh, it must be the initial form of the letter Ba. It must be the initial form of the letter Ba. So we go back, this is a Ba and this is an Alif. And this is pronounced Ba. Ba. This is just another method of writing the Lam and the Alif. This is another La, Lam and Alif, just another method of writing Lam and Alif too without breaking your pen or without lifting your pen, just a method of writing. Okay, this red letter, next red letter that you see on your screen, what letter do you think this is? If you don't remember, what you can do is you can switch back. Okay, I don't see anything that looks like it on the first page. Oh, doesn't look like it anything on the second and the third. Nope, not even the fourth. Oh, there it is. It's a Lam in its isolated format. It's a Lam in its isolated format. So let's go back. That is a Lam in the red in its isolated format, because it's the grid presents you the name of the letters on the left hand side. This is a Lam and it's in an isolated format, so you will know what exactly that letter is. This is how you can use your exercise aid to complete this exercise. Next, we have another method of writing the Lam Alif, but this time the Lam is connected to its previous letter. So this is a Lam and this is an alif. So if we go back to the exercise aid, notice that this is what you're looking at in red over here. This is red, this is the red, and this is the medial form of the letter lam. Medial form of the letter lam in red over here. The medial form of the letter lam. Even though the connected letter is not shown, this is just a medial form of the letter lam, and this is the alif connected to it. Another shorthand of writing this is just a convention that you will find that sometimes the lam is written like this in the initial format, but sometimes the lam is also written like this, the one that you see in the red on this one. So this is a lam. Just to let you know, this is a lam. But if you don't remember what this letter is, do you know what this letter is? Well, let's find out. What is this letter? We can take a look at our exercise aid. Okay, it doesn't look like any of these letters. Doesn't look like any of these. Doesn't look like any of these. Oh, it looks like one of these. What do you think this is? Okay, it might be the isolated form of one of these letters or the final form of one of these letters. Now, the reason this cannot be the isolated form is because it's connected to another letter. So therefore, it's not the isolated form. But notice that it is a, it does not have a dot. So it must be one of these three letters. Which of these three letters doesn't have a dot? It's the ha that does not have a dot. And this is the final form of the letter ha. So this, the word, this is the lam, and this is a ha. Another method of we already did this. This is the lam alif. This is another lam and another alif la. Next, we have another compound word. In it, we have three letters. The first letter is this one. We already did this one just a second ago. Which letter do you think this is? It's the same as the letter you see up here. This is a ba. And this is another lam. Notice that this is the medial form of the letter lam because it is connected on both sides to a ba and another ba. This is the medial form in red. The one you see in red is the medial form of the letter lam. And this is the final form of the letter ba. So if we go back and find the letter ba, notice that it's slightly connected to the previous letter. This is the final form of the letter ba. So this is ba, lam, and ba. Ba, lam, and ba. Ba, la, ba. Okay. Next we have this one letter. They've only shown this one letter. And what do you think this is? If you don't know, go back to your exercise aid and let's look for it. It doesn't look like any of these. Doesn't look like any of these. Oh, there it is. I see it immediately. This is the initial form of the letter kaf. So if you take a look, this is the initial form of the letter kaf. Basically, they haven't connected it to any other letter. They just wanted to show you the initial form of the letter kaf. The letter kaf, it is the initial form of the letter kaf. If you can follow my mouse here, it's the initial form of the letter kaf. Okay, this you should know already. This is the isolated form of the letter kaf. Isolated form of the letter kaf. Okay, in this one, we already did the letter kaf in the previous one. This is another kaf, and it's the initial form of the letter kaf. And we already did this. We already did this letter just a second ago. This is also the connected form of the letter ba. The connected form of the letter ba. This is kaf, and this is ba. Kaf, ba. This is just another method of writing the letter kaf. If you go back to sometimes the initial form of the letter kaf is written like this, but sometimes it is written like this as well. You notice that it is kind of similar to this form of the letter kaf. These two words are equivalent. This is kaf ba, and this is also kaf ba. This is a kaf and this is a ba, and this is a kaf and this is a ba. In this one, the kaf is slightly elevated, and this one, the kaf is slightly lowered. That's the only difference. It's just another way of writing the letter kaf. Notice it looks like the initial form of the letter kaf, But in this form of the letter kaf, the kaf is slightly depressed. It's slightly pressed down. This is the one in which it's elevated. Okay, so we have another kaf in its initial form, and we already did this. This is alif in its isolated form. This is another kaf. Notice it looks like this kaf right here on the right hand side. And we already did this. This is an alif, kaf and alif, ka. Okay, now this is a 3-letter compound format. This is the first letter, that's the second letter, this is the third letter. We already did this. This is the initial form of which letter? Up here is the initial form of the letter ba. The letter is ba. If you don't know, you can always go back to your exercise aid. And we already did this one. This is the medial form of the letter kaf. So if we go back here, this is the medial form of the letter kaf. As you can see, this is the medial form of the letter right here. The medial form of the letter kaf. But if you don't know what this letter is, can you recognize this letter? The letter in blue with 2 dots on it. Okay, if you don't remember or if you can't figure it out, you can go back to your exercise aid and look it up. Oh, okay, it looks like one of these letters. So what do you think it is? Oh, it has 2 dots on it, so it must be a ta. Because a dot below is a ba, 2 dots above is a ta, 3 dots above is a tha. So this must be a ta in its final form. The reason it's not in its isolated form is because it's not alone, it's actually connected to something. So this is the final form of the letter ta, which is this one right here in blue. Ta. Ta. This is the another 3-letter word. This is the initial form of which letter? Can you tell me? 2 dots above it? We did this already. Notice this is the initial form of the letter ta. We go back and you will notice that this is the initial form of the letter ta. The initial form of the letter ta. And we already did this one. This is the medial form of the letter kaf. And you will start to notice that this looks like a ta, but it has 3 dots on it. Do you know what this letter is? If you don't know, you can always look back at your exercise aid. This is the letter tha. Ta, kaf, tha. Moving on. You already did these, so I'm going to go through these a little bit faster. This is the isolated form of the letter ba. The letter ba. This is the letter ta. This is the letter tha. This is the letter noon. The letter is noon. This is the letter ya. This is the letter ya. We did this one just a second ago. Just a few minutes ago, we did this as part of this exercise. Do you remember what this is? This is the initial form of the letter ba, and this is an alif. Ba and alif. Ba is in green, alif is in black. Okay, a slight curveball your way. Do you know what this letter is? The letter in red. It doesn't have a dot below it, so it can't be a ba. It has a dot above it. Do you know what this letter is? Let's go back. Okay, it can't be a ba, it can't be a ta, it can't be a tha. Let's move down. Well, it looks nothing like a kha or a jim. Okay, let's keep going. Looks nothing like a dal, dhal, ra, za. Nope, can't be any of these either. Looks nothing like it. Moving on. No. Okay, we have a candidate. It has a dot on it, so it might be a fa. Is it a fa? No. The fa has that initial circle, and in its initial form, this letter is in its initial form because it's connected to an alif. We already did this. The black letter, the siu, is in alif. But it cannot be the initial form of the fa because even though the fa has a dot on it, the fa has a starting circle. This letter does not have a starting circle. So it cannot be the fa. So let's keep going. Oh, we have a winner. We have a winner. This is a noon. The reason it's a noon is because it's in its initial form, and it has a dot on it and has no circle on it, so it can't be a tha. This is a noon. So this is a noon in the red, and this is an alif connected alif. Noon and alif. This is the initial form of which letter? We did this one already. We did this one already, which was in this word right here. Ta, ka, tha. This is the initial form, the one that you see in blue right here. The initial form of the letter ta. It is also in blue up here. The letter ta, 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 and ta. This is the initial form of the letter ta, and this is an alif. Okay, they throw a slight curveball our way. We already know what this red letter is. This red letter, it's separated. This is an alif. This is a noon alif. This is a ta and an alif, and this is an alif. This red letter. But we can't. If you don't know what this letter is, how will you figure it out? Go back to your exercise aid and find. Because this letter occurs at the beginning of a word, it must be the initial form. So look for a letter with two dots on it that looks like this in the initial form column. So let's go back. Oh, we just happen to be on this page. And look at that. The initial form, it can't be the noon, it can't be the ha, it can't be the wa, it must be the ya. Because in its initial form, the ya has two dots below it. So this is the initial form of the letter ya. The initial form of the letter ya. This is the ya, and this is an alif. Okay. If you don't remember what this letter is in its initial form, the blue letter that you see up here, with three dots on it. Because it's at the beginning of the form, it's at the beginning, this is an initial form letter. So let's go back to our exercise guide and look for something that looks like it in the initial form column. Okay. Oh, is it the qaf? It has two dots on it. Let's go back. Can it be the qaf? No, actually it can't. It has three dots on it, so the qaf is out. The fa is out too. All these are out because in these initial forms, the initial form column, you will not find the three dots. So this is not. Oops, sorry. This is not three dots. Oh, we have a candidate. Look at this. The initial form of the letter sheen has three dots on it. So let's go back. This, tha, and then alif. Oh, I already gave away the answer. Sorry. This is a tha. The reason this is not a sheen is because sheen has two grooves. The sheen has two grooves and three dots on it. Whereas the tha has no grooves and three dots on it. So let's go back, up, 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 and there it is. This letter, the letter tha, in its initial format is the one that we're looking at right now. Tha and then alif. This is a tha and an alif. Okay. Next. Next, we have the initial form of the letter ba. We already did this one. Ba, kaf, ta up here. This is the initial form of the letter ba. But if you can't figure out what this letter is, can you figure out what this letter is? This letter is in its final form, so we're going to look for it in the final form column. So let's go back. And okay, now let's find the final form column. There it is. That's the final form column. Well, it can't be any of these, so let's go down. Nope, doesn't look like any of those. Nope, doesn't look like any of those. Okay, we have some candidates. Now, this has grooves in it, this has grooves in it. So let's go back. This letter, the letter in green, has grooves in it. Two grooves, and then a big drop. That's how it's written. Oh, it does not have dots on it. So this has a dot, this has a dot, these are out. So could it be a sod and a sin? But it is a sin because it has grooves in it. The sod has a characteristic starting oval on it. That's the sod. So this must be a sin. Yes, it is. That is a sin in its final form. Next, this is which letter? We already did this just a second ago. This is the letter ya. The letter ya in its initial form. So if you don't remember, because this letter, this blue letter, is at the beginning of this word, you have it in blue, and it must be in its initial form. So we're going to go switch back to our aid. We're going to scroll down and look for it in an initial form. We already did this one, and there it is. It's the initial form of the letter yeah. The initial form of the letter yeah. And we already did this. This is a scene. This is a ba and a scene, whereas this is a ya and a scene. Okay. All of these letters, now notice that all of these letters are connected with a scene at the end. This is a scene at the end. These are all the final forms of the letter scene. And this is the initial form of which letter? Can you tell me? The reason it must be the initial form is because it is at the beginning of the word. Okay, so this must be the initial form, this red letter right here. It has one letter on it. It has one dot on it. Which initial form of this could it be? So let's go back and look for a letter with a dot on it in its initial form. So which could it be? So let's start with the very top. Oh, it could be a ba. Could it be a ba in its initial form? Actually, no, it can't be. The reason it can't be is because the initial form of the letter ba has a dot below it, and the dot always occurs on the bottom of a ba. So this letter, this cannot be, this red letter right here, cannot be a ba. Okay, so let's keep looking in the initial form column. Okay, we have another dot letter, but it has no hook. The letter we just saw has a hook, has no hook. The jeem has a hook. This is a jeem, and the jeem has the dot below it. The letter we just saw, which is this letter right here, sorry, this letter right here, has a dot on top, not a dot on bottom. So it cannot be the initial form of the letter jeem. Oh, we have another candidate. Look at this. This is the letter kha. Kha in its initial format does have a dot on top of it. Oh, okay. So can this be a kha? Look at the form of this letter and look at the form of this letter. This initial form, the one in red. Can it be a kha? No, it can't. The reason it can't is because the initial form of the letter kha has this characteristic hook. This hook right here. This hook form. But this one does not have a hook. It's actually standing straight up. So kha is close. The initial form of the letter kha is close, but not quite. Let's keep going. It cannot be any of these. Oh, we might have a candidate. This dhal in its initial form. Could this be the letter dhal? Could this be the letter dhal? It almost looks identical, isn't it? Doesn't it? But it is not. And this is a trick one. The reason is because dhal is the same when it's written in its isolated format as its initial format. So when the dhal is written alone, or when it occurs at the beginning of the word, it's written the same. So meaning it does not get connected to any other letter, even when it's written at the beginning of a word. So notice this dhal is isolated and this dhal is initial, but they look identical. So even when the dhal occurs at the beginning of a word, it doesn't get connected. And because this letter right here, the one that we see in red, is connected to the scene, this is the scene, because it is connected to the scene, even though it looks like this dhal, it is not a dhal. Why is that? Because the dhal in its initial format does not get connected. If it was connected, it would have a slight extended groove here, but it does not. It's the same in its initial format as its isolated format, so this cannot be the letter dhal. We have another candidate. The letter is z. Could this be the letter z? It looks close, doesn't it? This red letter looks close. Yeah, it's kind of close. But can it be the letter zal? I'm sorry, the letter z? The reason it cannot be the letter z, the reason it cannot be this red letter right here, it cannot be the letter z, is because the letter z when it's written in its isolated format is the same as its initial format, meaning that even when it's written independently or at the beginning of a word, it doesn't matter. It doesn't get connected. It's not groove and it's not jointed to the letter next to it. So it's always, when its initial format, it's written when it's as if it is isolated. And because the letter that we see right here is connected to the next letter, it's not written as in an isolated form. It's connected directly to the letter next to it. It cannot be the initial form of the letter Z. If it was, it would be written separately. So let's keep going. Okay. Okay, we might have another candidate. This has a dot on top of it, but the letter we're looking for does not have a characteristic oval groove on it. Dod has a characteristic oval groove on it in its initial format. So that cannot be the letter Dod. Okay, we have two more candidates. Could it be the Wa or the Ghain? Well, again, it does not have the the extending the extending line, and it does not have the characteristic oval. So this cannot be the letter Va. This cannot be the, I'm sorry, this one. This cannot be the letter Va. Let me see if I can zoom in even more on this so that I don't keep losing it. There we go. Whoops. Let's see if I can. Oh, no, please don't do this. I'm gonna have to edit this out. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. So this noon, oh, I blurred it out. This is the letter noon. So even though, now again, you will find in its initial format, even though the ghain has a dot on top of it, it does not have the characteristic groove. So, oh, it cannot be the fa. The reason it cannot be the fa, it does not have the initial circle on it. It, this is it. The letter is the noon. This is the initial form of the letter noon. So this is a noon, and this is a sin. We already did this letter just a second ago. This letter is in its initial form. This letter is in its initial form. It's blue. This blue letter is in its initial form because it occurs at the beginning of the word. Let's go back to our exercise aid and look for a two dot letter from the beginning. Okay, we have a two dot letter. That is a letter ta. That is definitely a letter ta. This is ta, and this is a sin. Ta, sin. This is the letter tha. We already discussed in this word up here. Letter tha. It's in blue, has three dots on it, and this is sin. The letter sin. Another initial or first form or initial form of the letter tha right here. Do you know what this letter is? Okay, let's go back. First, figure out what form this letter is in. This letter is in its final form. So we're going to look for a letter with a dot inside it, a hook-looking letter with a dot inside it in its final form. Okay, so this is our column. Let's look for, and there it is. That is a jeem because it has a hook-looking letter and it has a dot in it. That is a tha. This is a tha and a jeem. And this is the initial form of the letter ta. The initial form of the letter ta. This is the final form of which letter? This hook-looking letter has no, this hook-looking letter, the green one that you see on your screen, has no dot in it. So it must be in its final form because it occurs at the end of the word. Because it occurs at the end of the word, we're going to look for this letter in the final form column. It could be a jeem, but it does not have a dot in it. Oh, because it does not have dot anywhere on top of it or below it, it must be the letter ha. The reason it must be the letter ha is if it was the letter kha, it kind of looks like the ha, but it would have a dot on top of it. So this is the final form of the letter ha. So we have the ta and a ha. Ta and a ha. Again, this is the initial form of which letter? We spent a lot of time on this just a second ago. This is the initial form of the letter noon. Initial form of the letter noon. And if you want, you can go back and rewind this video and find why this is the initial form of the letter noon. Go look for it in the exercise aid. Find the initial form column and look for this letter. See which one it looks like. And this is the letter, another hook-looking letter with a dot on it. This is the letter kha. This is the final form of the letter kha. Because it occurs at the end of the word, this black letter, because it occurs at the end of the word, it is a kha. Noon and a kha. Noon and a kha. So, I could spend a lot of time on this. But what I wanted to give you was this. This Qaida Nooraniya is an excellent resource for recognizing letters in their different format. So I'm going to do a slightly more complex one, which is this one right here. I'm going to pick it up at random. This is the black letter that you see, the two dots below it. This occurs at the beginning of the letter, so it must be the initial form of a two-dot letter. Let's go back, find the initial form column, and look for a two-dot letter. Okay, there's a two-dot letter, but the two dots are on top, not below, so this cannot be the ta. Moving on, no two dots in the initial column, no two dots in the initial column. Three dots, nope. One dot, nope. One dot, nope. One dot, nope. Oh, we have a candidate. This has two dots. But if you go back, this letter, the black letter that you see right here, has two dots below it. So, oops, let's go back. Has two dots on top. The initial form of the letter qaf has two dots on top, not two dots below. So this cannot be it. We have a winner. This is the initial form of the letter ya. The reason we know it's the initial form is because this occurs at the beginning of the word. So we find the initial form column and we look for a two-dot letter. And we know that this is the letter ya. Next, we have a medial form. This is the medial form of which letter? So let's look for a letter that has two dots on top of it that kind of looks like this in its medial form. So we're going to go back to switch to our study aid. Okay, we're going to find the medial column and start from the top. Okay, medial form of a letter that has two dots on top of it. We have a winner. This is the medial form of the letter ta. It has two dots on top of it, and because it occurs in the middle, this is the medial form of the letter ta. And this red letter over here is in its final form, and this is a lam. We already discussed this. This is the final form of the letter lam. So there's your tricks. Using Qaida Nooraniya and the pages that I'm going to upload as part of Qaida Nooraniya. First, determine the color of the letter. This is a black letter. Which form is it in? It is in its initial form because it occurs at the beginning of the letter. So we're going to look for a three-dot letter that is in its initial form, in the initial form column with three dots on it. Oh, we already have a winner. This is the letter sa. This is a medial form letter. The light blue letter that you see here has three dots on it. Let's look for a medial in the medial column. Let's look for a letter. Oh, we have another winner. This is the medial form of the letter tha. And this is the final form of the letter lam. So, there's your trick. Using your Qaida Nooraniya, first determine whether it is what form the letter is in. How do you know what form the letter is in? Because the Arabic is written right to left. This is the initial form. So it must be the initial form. So we're going to look for it in the initial form column. This column right here. This must be a 3-dot letter. So let's look for a letter with 3 dots. And you will find the winner. You will find the correct candidate. Now there might be multiple candidates and there might be exceptions. So for example, we discussed the dhal and the za exception. It kind of looks like a noon, but it isn't. The reason it can't be is because the initial form and the isolated form of those letters, the initial form of the dhal and the isolated form of the dhal are written the same. Meaning even when the dhal occurs at the beginning of a word, it is not connected to the next letter. Therefore, the noon, the isolated form of the noon, it cannot be a dhal and it cannot be a za. Okay. So first, determine the form of the letter from right to left. That's first determine if it's initial, medial, final, or isolated. If it is initial, medial, final, or isolated, find that column and identify what that word is. And you do this exercise, you should do this exercise with all the pages in Qaida Nooraniya that I'm going to upload. Now, this is going to get complicated. The reason is that now we have some interesting letters over here. This is a sad and an ayn. This is a dad and a ghain. This is a ba, ayn and a dal. This is a ta, ghain and a dal. This is a hamza. This is a wa with a hamza on it. This is a ya with a hamza on it. This is a fa. This is a ghain. This is a hamza. This is a ayn and this is a za. This is a ghain and this is a ra. So you need to do this exercise and you need to do this. I would recommend you can do this alone, but I would recommend you find somebody who knows Qaida Nooraniya, and if you're doing it alone, use the associated or the attached exercise. Find what form it is, determine what form it is in, if it's initial, medial, final, or isolated, and within that column look for a letter that has that amount of dots and that has that kind of shape, and you will get all these letters. It's actually not that hard. So I hope you liked this video. Jazakallah khair for watching. This has been a lengthy exercise video, but you're going to need to do this for Qaida Nooraniya, because Qaida Nooraniya will help you. Because each letter is in its different color, you will know where a letter ends and where a letter begins. So Qaida Nooraniya, doing this exercise repeatedly is very important. Jazakallah khair for watching, and I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.